documents, and I'll share them with you. Thank you. Walter wants to say a few words, maybe?
Well, thank you, George. I believe you're a partner on this too.
Yep.
Say a few words of support.
Gordon and I have been involved in this thing now for about 12 years. At the beginning, we wondered how the heck was it the government could have control over us as a people. And we found, in order for them to do so, we discovered 3 ways in which they do it. And that's the only ways that we know of that they're able to do this. They call us, in their system, a straw man. And they have a different definition for it in their own library. And all you have to do is check their dictionaries. A lawyer's dictionary and a judge's dictionary is Black's Law Dictionary. That's their Bible. And they go by that. In there, they identify what a straw man is. And that's an artificial creature that they create without a birth certificate. And in their system, there is a way to take back that birth certificate so as you own it instead of them. What you own in their paper world, you control. If you control the straw man, you control the man that is behind there that's been named. And in this case here, I saw that document there that you're being charged with now. They're charging Frank Brown. Well, Frank Brown to them is a straw man. It's not a living man of flesh and blood. Frank Brown is a straw man. And they hold the birth certificate for that straw man. Because you were born, Frank, your birth was registered. So then, you got to get that birth certificate back. That's the documents that George is talking about that we have done. George and I have taken back our straw man. We own our straw man. If the government comes as us, they have to come through our straw man. But we own that. And remember, in that system, what you own is yours and you control it. They do another thing as well. With the straw man, which is all the birth certificates of all of the citizens of Canada, they create the laws and the funds, the money in the country. Okay, this is a birth certificate. That's the one you need to get a hold of, the long form. You apply for it through the vital statistics in Manitoba. They'll try to sell you a different birth certificate. They've got a couple others. They got a little small one that's for your purse, and they've got one that's a pretty thing. It's all colored up and everything. It looks very official, but it's not worth nothing in this paper world system. So don't buy that thing. Get after this one. It costs you $25 if you're willing to wait 5 or 6 weeks for it. If you pay them $60, they'll give it to you the next day. And this is the only one that's worth having. This is what they create the money of the country with. If you control your birth certificate, you control the man, you control the name, which they're charging, and you control all of the funds that birth certificate creates. That's the funds of that country that pertains to your birth certificate. George alluded to the fact that some birth certificates are worth quite a bit. There's a retired judge in the States that checked out how much his birth certificate was worth, which was worth $167 million at that time. We can control all of those funds with our signature alone if we know how to do it on paper. And that is something they can't fight us against because it's their system. We're following their rules to defeat their game, and they call it a game. We don't call it a game, but they call it a game. Now there's that pretty one. This is what they'll try and sell you when you'll go in there. This birth certificate. And they'll charge you the same price as for this one. When you want this one, you have to ask for their restricted one. And they'll give you a bit of an argument. I remember when George went in to get his, I got mine a year or so before.
And this is what they trade on Chicago Stock Exchange. It's on bond paper. Same thing money's made of.
See, they take, is this yours, George?
Yep.
If they take a bunch of these, about 25 or 30 of them, and they bunch them together, and they create a mutual fund out of it. And then they sell that on the stock market of the world. People buy that, and that's how they create the funds. But once you take control of that birth certificate, no matter where the hell they've sent it and in what mutual fund it is part of, you own part of that mutual fund. I don't know, at that last elders conference, we circulated a few papers there that listed some of these kinds of things. And we stated on the bottom that you can foreclose on your portion of the national debt. See, they've got a thing, a fictitious thing called a national debt. It exists, but we're not creditors of that national debt. The only thing is they never tell us that, and they're not going to. You have to find out on your own, and then you have to figure out what to do about it. How you handle that is all paperwork, and there's nobody that you can hire to do that for you. You just have to go to those people who already know how to do it and learn from them. That's how George and I got onto this kind of thing. There's a fella in the States, a fella called Winston Shrout. He's the bond expert of North America. He was conducting 2 seminars, one in Toronto and one in Calgary, 2 weeks apart. So George and I attended both seminars. We attended the first one so as we know what to ask and what to inquire on the second one, because we didn't know anything about bonds. You can create your own bond from your own birth certificate that has more value than any of those bonds that the government people hold now, which they're using to back them up when they make a mistake. All you have to do is find out or identify a mistake that they made in their system and foreclose on their bond. I don't know, this might seem a little complicated, and it is quite complicated when you try to learn it from the internet or from somebody who doesn't know what's behind the whole damn thing. So what you have to do is learn from those who know and have begun to use this knowledge. And with that, you can be the sovereign which you were born to be, and you can take back all of the resources that are connected with your birth certificate. And if they charge you, remember, they're only charging the birth certificate. That's all they can recognize. They can't recognize a man or a woman. But if you say to them, yes, that's me, that name right there you just called, and they can put that name in jail. So, and this is not maybe. We know of one hereditary chief right now that is sitting in jail because he didn't know these things. And he handled it wrongly. He identified through his birth certificate name. He should have identified through his lodge name, if he wanted to use a name at all. So these are some of the things that you have to think about. In their world, when a debt is created, it's created only on paper, because paper is all they know in that world. It's a fiction world. It doesn't exist in the real world, and they've imposed it on top of the real world, and they try to govern us that way. See? That's what they're doing. But once you figure it out, and once you know how to deal in that world, they'll be happy to leave you alone, because it's too darn dangerous for them. If you go after their bond and you collect on it, you will be collecting that money. They will be paying you instead of you paying them for a fine or something. They'll be paying you. And that's the route I think we've got to go. Now you might have some questions on all that kind of stuff.
I have a question.
Yep.
About this birth certificate. That's the time when the parents, after the baby in a hospital,
Yes.
if the doctors ask them, you have to register your baby.
Yes.
That's this birth certificate you're talking about.
Yes.
Where the parents both sign.
Yes.
Back in Saskatchewan, we call this life birth certificate.
Yes.
And we've ordered that one already, yes.
What the parents have done there, they have granted you over, given you over to the government control, the fictitious government, the corporate government that George is talking about. See, they become the grantor. You're still the beneficiary, but they become the grantor. The government turns that around and tries to make you the trustee. And you got to understand these three terms: government, grantor, trustee, beneficiary. That's trust law. George and I have tried to find a lawyer who we could work with and talk to about trust law. Do you know, in order for a lawyer to become a lawyer these days, they only study trust law for 8 hours. They don't know trust law. But we can become a hell of a lot better at trust law than any of those lawyers. That's what we found out.
What we found out was the word register. The word register, we looked into that and trying to find the real meaning of that word.
Yeah.
What we found out it means in the Black's Law Dictionary, transfer of ownership or transfer of title, that's what it means. So, if you have when you have registered your baby in the hospital, what you just did was give your baby away.
Yes.
Now, you gave this baby to somebody, for that's why you get your family allowance thing. But
Yeah.
you're raising this baby for somebody else. And what we found out is, for us anyway, like, we gave the baby to the queen.
Yeah.
And that's who's paying us for raising their kids for it.
When the parents register the birth certificate, the government creates an artificial creature out of it, and they name it. Its name. Well, the parents give the name, and they register that name. They then hold the title document for that artificial creature that they created. They hold the title document, but there is a way for you to take that title document so as you can hold it. You can hold the title document for your own child. Then the government doesn't have no say in the matter anymore. It's your child then, not their child. You got a question there you want to ask?
Yeah. I wonder if I may correct what he said earlier in the courtroom. He was saying, okay, to back it up first, we are a trust.
Yes.
When the live birth was issued, we became a trust.
Yes.
But when we go into the courtroom, we cannot be a trust. The case is the trust. So when they bring, the clerk handles the trust. So they come into the courtroom with the trust. So as a beneficiary coming to court, I cannot be both. So the administrator, the judge, under the UCC is handling the case, right? There's 3 courts of laws, 3 kinds of laws. And there's 3 jurisdictions. But I will go on the 3 types of laws to give us, clarify that. 1, UCC, Uniform Commercial Code. Second is the maritime law. This is the canon law.
Yeah.
The last one is the Talmud. These are the priests. So when we go in, you said something about trust law. This is where we're going in. As a beneficiary, I'm going into the court scene because they're issuing a summons. So I come into the courtroom as a beneficiary. So it cannot be both. I cannot be a trust and a beneficiary. Once I admit I'm a trust, then that case is mine, and I've admitted guilt. And they can issue that executorship. They can charge me. So I will not accept that agreement. I will not accept it. I'm going in there to deny that I have done anything wrong, because I haven't done anything wrong. That's their law. Canada made their laws for their people, their employees, right? Just like Sears, they have their own policies and regulations. It doesn't apply to me, it only applies to their employees. So how can it apply to me? So when they charge me for driver's ticket, whatever it may be, seatbelt, I go to the courtroom, I cannot take the trust. I have to be a beneficiary only. So once I jump into the arena as a trust, I'm charged. So I cannot admit to being a trust. They have to be the ones to handle that. This way I get out of it. And that's how I'm saying I want to correct them on that.
Has it worked for you?
Well, we're working on that right now, and I'm sure we're gonna win.
Well, there's only 3 parties to a trust, and you can be 2 of them. You can't be the trustee,
No,
but you can be the beneficiary and the grantor. If you own your birth certificate, you can do what you want with that birth certificate. You can transfer it and create a trust. There's only 4 ways that you can create a trust. You can declare it. A court can appoint a trust. You can transfer the birth certificate into a trust, and the other one is by a contract.
well, see, I don't want to conflict. I'm not trying to have I'm not engaging in a conflict here. I'm just saying that if you go to the courtroom, you're the case. The case is in front there by the clerk. So the clerk brings in the trust, which is that case that you were charged, the straw man. So you cannot be both. You cannot own that. So you don't want it.
You want to go into court as a sovereign.
Yes,
Yeah, and you should.
yes.
You should. But the straw man, the sovereign, has this thing called a straw man. And once you own that, you're not going in as a case, you're going in as a sovereign. But you own the straw man, which they're abusing. Okay? And they brought this thing into court, their court. We should reverse that, you know. We should be sovereign people and bringing them into our court, if there's going to be a court at all. We have to think about how best we can do all of these kinds of things. But that judge is the trustee. He's trying to get you to be the trustee. The trustee pays. Trustee also goes to jail if he makes a mistake. You want to put the judge in that position, not yourself.
So the maritime law you guys are talking about.
No, it's that thing you referred to earlier. It's maritime law, marine law of the sea, the law of the sea. Yeah, it's all under there.
We're all underwater. All of North America is underwater, under martial law, under law of the sea.
I had a question. What's your name?
Albert Nard.
Who?
Well, that's Albert Rahman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But does that include your status number 2? Is that white that?
Well, the status number is made from the straw man name. They go to the birth certificate to create the status number.
That's your prisoner of war number. The old days of prisoners, when you see the movies, you got that number? Well, that's your prisoner of war card, your number. That's you're in prison.
It's no longer here.
You got your carrying it in your
wallet.
pocket, yeah. You're a prisoner of war.
Who has the status number in here? Pretty well everybody, right?
Right?
Not me.
Not you?
It expired 2 years ago and I'm not renewing it.
Mine expired 5 years ago. And the government is supposed to be handing out these cards. They don't even want to hand them out now. See, they're going to kill that guy will die for this one. He's most probably dead now. In their eyes.
Well, they consider this dead people.
At 7 years old,
They don't consider
under this law, the way that they're treating, when a kid is 7 years old, he's considered dead. That's why they take over the jurisdiction. INAC policy, if you read section 51, we're all incompetent people that's got to be looked after by somebody else. That's under their system. But if you want to believe it, I mean, maybe some people, they're right. They can't, because they can't look after themselves. Like some of these chiefs, you know, they run around like chickens with their heads cut off. They don't know what they're doing.
You're saying you got your birth certificate back? So how much were you worth?
Well, we haven't figured that out yet. We got to do the research and find out how much it's being traded for. But when I was born, in 1933, when the country went bankrupt, a birth certificate was worth $675,000. A baby born in 1933. That is a lot of money. Now, from 1933 to now, How much compound interest do you think they made on that money? Even if they give us just the dividends, they can, if they want to be trustee, give us the dividends, at least. They can keep on trading the birth certificate, but we'd all be millionaires. You know? That's the bottom line. We just got to know how to do the process. Like I said, Frank, we could help you guys. If you guys got writers, technicians that know how to operate computers or know how to write, it don't take much, you know. I mean, there's only about 6 documents you got to fill out. Put your thumbprint, get them notarized, put them on bond paper, and serve them to the government. They'll leave you alone. Because now they'll understand, oh, this Indian woke up. He served his papers here. We can't touch that guy anymore. It's out of the system. I know it's hard to take. It's something, you know, could be shocking to the system. A lot of people don't understand it. A lot of people say, you tell them this, they say, you're crazy. But we're not. We prove it. We've got the documents. This guy here smashed his vehicle, Walter, and AutoPack wrote a check out to the indigenous person because he had a lien on that vehicle. It's all his property. The check comes to him and he asked, he says, we can't give you this check, it's not in your name. But somebody's got a lien on it. He asked him, can I have a look at the check? Here was his name, his indigenous name.
I have a question. Where do you serve this document?
You do it on a computer. The PPSAs, every province has got one. It only costs $11, I believe, PPSA. You do it over the computer.
No, where do you serve them?
Well, the documents you serve them to the government, the RCMP, the Governor General, the court system. You know? That way you're telling everybody down the line, I am a sovereign person. You've got no jurisdiction over me or my family or anything.
Why are we telling the corporations that we're supposed to be have people in Great Britain?
No, we're taking back our jurisdiction. We're asserting our jurisdiction. The Crown will treat you as a sovereign person if you know who you are. But if you don't know who you are, they'll treat you as that Section 51 Indian INAC policy.
Introduced as Gordon Bear Murphy's. B-E-A-R Bear or B-A-R-E Bear. I don't know. It's Bear anyway. Mr. Bear.
Gordon was 5'10" this morning, but he's riding a horse and he's bow-legged now, so he's 5'6".
Yeah, it's good to be back in your homeland again, Dakota people. And I'm starting to feel like Dakota. I don't know about those horses. I think I'm going to stick to my dog team. But anyway, I met a lot of new people. I recognize some familiar faces here. Some of that boys here I met before. I like coming here. I like what the cause is all about. I've been at it for a while myself, since the early 80s. And I've learned quite a bit. I've heard quite a bit. And I understand some of it. Okay? I'm not up here to claim or to do anything other than to say that I'm finally starting to realize and know who I am. I'm the Inuit. But my sin scars, people. That's who I am. Now, I also found out that because of the territory of Dakota, that's what you call them, Dakota. I like the way they pronounce it. Sounds like a real. You guys have a lot of territory. And the Cree have to go back to their territory also. This is what I'm going to tell my people when I go back. We're in the wrong place. We have to go back to our sovereignty. If we want to claim sovereignty in our land, where the Creator put us, we have to go back there. I don't have a problem with that. Now I understand. who's creator and who's Pilisirkona, which in English, thunderstorm. Now, there's been a lot of discussion back and forth. I've been with Frank for a bit. George, Walter, I met a while ago, maybe 10, maybe more years ago. And the other people that travel around, you mentioned Max one, I've talked to him, I've sat with him. Lester House, right across the border, right? Right across the US, right across Canada. And I've been searching and looking for what they call sovereignty. Because I feel it. Anywhere I walk, I don't walk in like a bully, but I walk in like I own the place. I've always been like that. That's why I got into trouble a lot. It's just the way I am. However, not to take away what I just said, I understand sovereignty. And I always heard it from the white people, the immigrants. And not only white people, I've heard it from others too. Sovereignty. I always thought it was a king or a queen in the beginning. But when I look at sovereignty in the way I understand it today, it's the power and the gift that we got from the Creator to live on this land. When you live on this land and do the duties that you were supposed to do by the Creator, you are sovereign. And it's as simple as I could put it. The documentation, I've always questioned what is real and what is not. There's Creator's laws and man-made laws. I understand that. The 3 different forms they have over here. And the laws of the Creator have never changed from day one of creation. That I know. So I'm over here with that. But my birth certificate, right? Okay. Among other things. Among the treaty. I know I've met some die-hard treaty people where I come from, and I've sat in circles with them. And at one time in my life, they convinced me that this treaty was a sacred treaty. But I didn't really know what they were talking about. Until I ran into my brother Frank. And he explained to me what treaty means. It means Dakota. And the relationship we have created. The other one was man-made, and a woman made a treaty with a man. And in their custom, the woman deals with the woman, and the man deals with the man. That I had no problem with. So a lot of things I've learned in coming to your Dakota territory. I'm very grateful for that. It's opened a lot of doors for me and my family. They hear what we talk about. You never underestimate these kids. They hear and they ask questions of adults, and even the older ones don't ask. They're amazing. However, we have a situation here that we have to deal with. And we have to deal with it yesterday morning. So to me and for me, and my suggestion is, if we could decide on what step we're going to take within the next, I'll give you an example, 17 hours. Okay? There's a reason for 17 hours. It's all in the case. For Dakota, the Chundee, and anybody else that's trying to understand how to make a decision to take that time. If we could do that, if we so choose to go with your suggestion, and right now it sounds pretty good to me, although because of the many years of jumping into the fire, and even jumping on a horse and not knowing what to expect, I'm starting to learn a lot of things. And be very careful and cautious, because every step I make, and if I don't make the right step right off the hop, these guys will go down. That is why I'm here. The Creator listens. When you tell him the cause and why you're doing it and why and who you're going to do it with, it's for your future. It's the kids. That's what I live for. That is my commitment. And I haven't stepped off it yet. I live and fight and endure whatever I have to for the future. And the most important and vital thing that I've learned is to live or to die for the love of somebody you're never going to see. And I believe that.